last session. This is the story I was going to tell. Homer's Odyssey. He tells the story of Ulysses, and there's a couple of myths from Greek mythology here that I'm going to compare. The session is titled, Find a Better Music. So there was a narrow strait. I don't remember the name of the strait, but the Isle of the Sirens was there. And if you remember your Greek mythology, the sirens were these terrible, demonic creatures, but they sang the most beautiful and enchanting song. And so anyone that heard their song, any man was immediately spellbound, and he would stop at nothing to go to them. It didn't matter if he knew before that he would be devoured, that they were destructive. It didn't matter what he knew objectively to be true. If he was exposed to their music, he would be convinced that these were the most beautiful and lovely of women, and there could be nothing but pleasure to come from their encounter. No harm would come to him. And so this was the most dangerous part of the seas. It had shipwrecked many other captains before because you couldn't pass through this area. It was so narrow, you couldn't pass through it without hearing the song of the sirens. And so any ship that passed through, they would hear the song and they would be led to their destruction. So in Homer's Odyssey, the character Ulysses has a brilliant solution. The Isle of the Sirens is certain to lead his ship to shipwreck, so he knows what he has to do. He commands all of his sailors to stuff his ears with wax, stuff their ears with wax. And he commands them first to bind him, lash his arms to the mast of the ship. So they lash him to the mast of the ship with cords so tight that he can't escape. Their ears are stuffed with wax, and he told them, no matter what I say, sail through the straits and don't listen to me. But he did this because he wanted to hear the song. He wanted to hear the song. He didn't want them to follow his leading when he's under the delusion of the song. He didn't want them to come under the delusion of the song, but he wanted to hear the song. And so they passed through, and the sirens began to sing. And all of a sudden, he's like, guys, it's okay. This is so beautiful. Set me free. We have to go to them. This is lovely. It's the most beautiful music in the world. We have to go see them. We have to go be with them. Men's ears are full of wax. He's bound. He's lost his sanity, but he's confined. And they sail through safely. Well, that's a win. But it's not the best win. There was another guy named Jason who had the Argonauts, Jason and the Argonauts. Jason had to sail through this same thing. Jason had a different approach. And so he sought the land knowing he had to sail through those same straits. And he sought throughout the land for the finest musician in the world. And there was a legendary flutist who played the most beautiful music. And he hired him to sail with him. And he said, before we get there, begin to play your song and play it until we're safely through. And so they're sailing on the boat, and the flutist begins to play, and all of the men are so captivated by the beauty of this music, they never hear the siren song. And they sail safely through. Now, what Ulysses did was clever, but I think you see where I'm going. All he's applying is human strength. I want to hear it. I don't really want to miss it. I want to double dip and get the pleasure but not the destruction. There's nothing in me that is fundamentally changed. Just lash me to the mast. And the law wraps around us and we're like, I can be trusted now. This is gonna give me the self-restraint. I can't trust myself because those pleasures are too intoxicating. The pleasures of the flesh, the pleasures of the world. But I just, if I knuckle down, I can get through this. We grit our teeth and we call abstinence victory rather than sing me a sweeter song. Play the song of salvation. Play the song of the Lamb crucified. Give me eyes to see, eyes and wings, catch me up. That's my magnificent obsession. And all of a sudden, we don't even hear the siren song. It's so dull and dim, it means nothing to us. And we sail through the most taxing and trying trials of life that shipwreck everyone else. And they look and say, how have you moved through this victoriously? And then we say, we're captivated by a better song from another kingdom and a more beautiful king. It's a totally different kind of life. It's a totally different kind of answer. And that is what we are invited to in this new creation life. Amen.